Steve Jobs, Final Reflections on Life, Death and Purpose. On October 5, 2011, the world lost one of its most visionary minds. But in his final moments, Steve Jobs left us something more valuable than any product he ever created. Wisdom about what truly matters when time runs out. Steve Jobs didn't just build computers. He reimagined how humanity interacts with technology. The iPhone, the Mac, Pixar, these weren't just products. They were his attempts to make a dent in the universe, as he often said. But behind the turtlenecks and keynotes was a man deeply aware of his own mortality. A man who at age 56 would face the ultimate deadline none of us can negotiate. In 2005, 1 year after being diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, Jobs stood before Stanford graduates and delivered what many consider the most important speech of his life. Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life. Because almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important. Death, he believed, wasn't the enemy. It was life's greatest invention. It cleared out the old to make way for the new. It was the ultimate motivator to not waste the precious time we have. Jobs' words, "Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice." For 7 years, Steve fought pancreatic cancer, liver transplant, weight loss, pain. He continued to work, to innovate, to push Apple forward even as his body weakened. His final public appearance in June 2011 showed a frail man, but one still filled with purpose. He presented plans for Apple's new campus, a project he knew he'd never see completed. In those final months, according to those close to him, his focus shifted, not to products or market share, but to family, to his wife Lorene, his children, his sister Mona. The relationships he'd sometimes sacrificed for his work became his priority. Jobs' biographer, Walter Isaacson, shared some of Steve's deepest reflections from his final days. "I've reached the pinnacle of success in business. My life has been the epitome of success. But aside from work, I have little joy. In the end, wealth is only a fact of life that I am accustomed to." At this moment, lying on my bed and recalling my whole life, I realize that all the recognition and wealth that I took so much pride in have paled and become meaningless in the face of impending death. He spoke of treasures that cannot be bought: love, friendship, family, health, the simple joys of connection that get overlooked in the pursuit of achievement. "God gave us the senses to let us feel the love in everyone's heart," he reflected, "not the illusions brought about by fame." On October 5, 2011, surrounded by his family, Steve Jobs took his last breaths. His sister Mona Simpson later described the moment in a moving eulogy. Jobs looked at his sister Patty, then his children, then his wife Lorene. Then he looked past them, as if seeing something beyond. His final words were simple but profound. "Oh wow, oh wow, oh wow." Silence for 3 seconds. We'll never know what Steve saw in that final moment. Perhaps it was a glimpse of whatever comes next. Perhaps it was simply the culmination of a life lived fully, intensely, purposefully. What we do know is this: a man who spent his life trying to see around corners, to imagine when others couldn't, maintained his sense of wonder until the very end. Steve Jobs left us with more than revolutionary products. He left us with a blueprint for living. Death, as Steve understood, is what gives life its meaning. It's what makes our choices matter. It's what reminds us that every moment is precious, every connection sacred, every day a gift. The question isn't whether we'll die. The question is, will we truly live? Oh wow, indeed. What will your last words be? Make your life count. Subscribe for more final reflections from history's most influential minds.